Aqua Teen Hunger Force assemble on today's special episode of the DVD King. I'm a Aqua Teen Hunger Force super fan. It's my favorite TV show of all time. Yes, just of all time. I think it's the funniest show ever made. I'm a super fan. I want to talk about all the Aqua Teen DVDs. Even to this day, despite how old Aqua Teen is, I still get extremely excited whenever there's any news or any new episodes coming out or like a new movie or whatever the fuck it happens to be, because these characters are very special to me. I got Master Shake here, and of course, Moth Monster Man. Why did you throw molding at me? I don't have the blood you crave! I'm the Lord of Illusions. And the Commander. Right off the bat, I put each of these DVDs into their own sections, and you'll see why. I'll explain it as they go, because I consider all these to be the different eras of Aqua Teen. Here we have Volume 1. This is the beginning of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the greatest TV show ever made. These are the golden years of Aqua Teen. The year 2000 to I think 2003 or something like that, where it was like every episode was phenomenal in my opinion. I thought every single episode during the golden age was hilarious. And I mean, this is the first 3 seasons, I think. The classic years of Aqua Teen. A lot of these DVDs are kind of pricey nowadays. They did release the complete series on DVD recently, which is excellent to get if you're new to Aqua Teen, because it has the whole series on it. But for hardcores like me, I'm so glad I bought these when I did back in the old days, because this has more artwork. You know, like there's no artwork on this. You need to get the individual volumes. Other than that, the discs are the same. Of all my DVDs as the DVD King, the Aqua Teen Hunger Force DVDs are my most watched DVDs in my lifetime, and they're my favorite DVDs of all time. These Aqua Teen DVDs. These are all my originals that I've had when they were all originally released. So, as you can see, they're falling apart a little bit, and there's a lot of wear on them, because I would bring them on vacations, trips, in the cars, everywhere. I mean, I wore these DVDs out, man. I was an Aqua Teen fanatic back in the day, and I still am. So much inspiration came into my life from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I just love that it has the original Adult Swim logo on the bottom. Look at that. That's the classic Adult Swim logo. Like when it was during the pool era. I'm so nostalgic for those old promos they had with the pool. The announcer, the lifeguard's like, all kids out of the pool! Adult Swim! It's fucking hilarious, man. So I just love, like, when you put this against the light, you can see the reflection. Look at that. And I just love that you can see the graffiti of their names here. And this is what I'm talking about. If you don't own the individual sets, then you don't get all this extra artwork and nostalgia. Right off the bat, the problem with the Aqua Teen DVDs is really only one thing. Because other than this one complaint, they're the greatest DVDs ever. The one complaint I have is that Volume 1 is the first 2 seasons of the show. It's not Season 1. They did the same thing with the Family Guy DVDs back in the day, if you guys remember. They screwed it up, because the first volume of Family Guy, Volume 1, is Seasons 1 and 2. And then Volume 3 is Season 2. So this is Seasons 1 and 2, so it has like 18 episodes on here. Because normally the Aqua Teen seasons are about 13 episodes, from my memory. But they were releasing the first collection on DVD, and I guess they were like, give people their bang for their buck, so might as well throw 18 episodes on it, because back in the day, like, it's not like it is today, guys. TV in the 2000s, a standard season was 20 episodes. That was considered the standard. That was considered normal, which is hysterical. It's laughable compared to today's standards. Normally, a season of a show these days is 10 episodes, but not back in the golden years of television in the 2000s. It was 20 episodes, guys. Of all the sitcoms, like, it was always 20 episodes. So people worked a lot harder on television shows back then, and they were coming out with more episodes back then, because TV was a big deal back in the 2000s. It's not anymore. So I miss that. So let's take a look at some of the art, guys. Ignignot and I am we are from the moon. See, I can just quote this show all day. Looks like a cat toy. I memorized a lot of the lines of, like, if it's an old episode, I can almost say some of the episodes verbatim, a bunch of them in particular. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? What I really like about this right here is that this looks like a piece of paper you'd get as a receipt at a fast food chain. Just like the DVDs in the golden age of DVDs, the 2000s. There were little secrets for you to find on the DVD menu. And maybe one day I'll show you guys those things. You can latch onto like objects. I remember there's some secrets where you go to Carl's necklace and there's a secret. Only if you fooled around with the DVD menus you'd find that. Now they never do that anymore. Never. Look how gorgeous this is. Now that is fucking awesome. Unlike other people that review DVDs that they just quickly show you it. It's like, no, 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 no. I love you guys. I love my fans. I know how frustrating it's been for me to watch all these other YouTubers post videos of stuff in their collection and they like barely show it off. No, I'm not like that. I'm giving you guys all the glory. I want you guys to experience this with me. I kept this in good condition. It's pretty cool how they did this because when you look at it, it's like the Aqua Teens live here. This is like their house, and right next door is Carl. So next door, you got the second disc. Even though Carl's house is this way, not that way. I like this because they're all looking up at you. Pretty cool. Meatwad. Hey, it's your buddy Carly. Still bald, still single, still loving it. I think that's hilarious that this is here underneath this disc, because even today, this is like the only picture of Carl with him smiling. Only on the back of his disc on the first season. I mean, the first volume DVD collection. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the episodes. Rabot, masterpiece. I have a complaint, though, about this DVD. Like, I didn't even know this back in the day, guys, but apparently, for the last few years only, the fans have been able to find the original airing and or the work print version of Rabot that originally aired on Adult Swim. The first airing, it had segues that were from the Super Friends cartoon. You know, where like the beams of light flashes. I don't know how old you guys are to know that, because I remember they used to air Super Friends reruns on Toonami back in the late 90s. I thought it was awesome to see that because they changed it on the DVD release where there's like people narrating in between the segments in Rabot, which was cool, but I love the original version way better because they were portraying the Aqua Teens not as just detectives, but as superheroes. They all have superpowers. Meatwad can shape into things. Shake shoot stuff out of his straw. And he was also the Drizzle, but that's later on. But Drizzle hair, worst superhero ever was the Drizzle. Frylock, of course, he's got his badass beams, and he can do other things, shooting lasers from his eyes. He's got the jewel of Ida Hockalis behind him. That was a very mysterious thing back in the day, the jewel behind his back. Because in the classic episode, you only saw it like 1 or 2 times, and it was very quick. And I remember being a kid, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, oh my god! Look at that, guys, look! There's a jewel behind Frylock's back. That was so awesome. By the way, did you guys ever notice in one of the later episodes, I'm trying to remember what it was, Shake says to Frylock, you don't have a nose either. And then Frylock's like, that's not the point, Shake. But it's funny, but it's not true though. That's Frylock's nose, you can see it. It's right above his beard. So Frylock does have a nose. Anyway, it's just a bunch of little interesting, slight inconsistencies in this show. But for the most part, aside from the fact that they die and come back to life, for the most part, everything else is pretty canonical, in my opinion. But they do actually explain the immortal stuff, because they had the last episode, Forever and Ever or whatever, the one with Adam Lambert from Highlander, where they explain that they are immortal. That was like the only episode where they explained that. So they did technically explain it, that they are immortal, in the final episode. But now we have the new Aqua Teen season that came out like last year, so. But I guess you can consider that the original finale. I'm pissed that they didn't include the original version of Rabbit on this DVD. And you can't say it's a copyright issue because Warner Bros. Owns Hanna-Barbera, and that's how they got all the old animation stuff to use in Space Ghost, in the Brack Show, in Aqua Teen, and all the other old original Adult Swim shows. That's how they got all that stuff. And it was meant to be nostalgic not just for baby boomers, but for everyone who was old enough to watch the Hanna-Barbera stuff in the reruns. So, yeah. So it pisses me off because that was a really extremely cool thing that they had the Super Friends reference in the work print. And there's also some extra scenes in the work print that aren't in the final version, which sucks because you will never get it now on this DVD. So fuck that. Other than that, this DVD is perfect. Escape from yeah, that's the one with the leprechauns. That episode's hilarious. Where Carl sees the rainbow. Yeah, give me the gold. And has one of the funniest endings where his house flies into the sky. The rainbow takes his house away. Hysterical. Um, Bus of the Undead, amazing. That's with our guy Moth Monster Man here, who's drunk as I'm reviewing this. The D on the grave stands for Dracula. Dracula. All right, anyway. Mayhem and the Moonanites, the first episode with the Moonanites. A masterpiece. The Moonanites, I think they did technically get less funny every episode they appeared in as they go on. But that first episode, especially the first two, masterpiece. I can quote the entire episode of Mayhem and the Moonanites, and maybe one day I'll do that for you guys. Because that episode where the Moonanites first appear, that is really something else. That is historical television right there. And I heard a rumor back in the day that the Moonanites were actually sprites taken from a unreleased Atari 2600 game. And I don't know if that was a fake internet rumor, like a creepypasta or something. Not creepypasta, but you know what I mean. Or just speculation. Like, I don't know if that's actually true. And that would be amazing. Because then we get to see them come to life out of that old video game that never was released. And I also heard it may be sprites taken from the E.T. game. And that kind of makes sense because E.T.'s an alien and so are the Moonanites. So I don't know. It would be cool if that's true. I mean, they definitely look like they're sprites from the 2600, aren't they? Right? For sure. But the fact that you see the top of Ignignot's head is the same shape as Ur's, where they do the quad laser, or quad glacier, in the end episode. Lock in! It is over now! Well, that indication on top of his head might be some indication that they're not completely from the 2600. But anyway, someone should make a 2600 video game with the Moonanites in it. Maybe you can call it Mayhem and the Moonanites. Balloonenstein is one of my favorite episodes. I'd say it's a masterpiece. Too many funny lines. God, I love that episode. I think it's the first episode where you see Frylock's braces. Okay, Space Conflict from Beyond Pluto. Some of the titles are dumb, so I know every episode, guys. I do. I just don't remember what happens in that. Old Drippy. Drippy is amazing. An amazing character. I'm so happy they brought him back in the end episode where he's collecting the bottles. Green bottles in one bag, and then all the others in the black bag. Yeah, that episode is a masterpiece, I'd say, Old Drippy. And it just goes to show how much of a piece of shit Shake is to Drippy in that episode. It's great. And by the way, I'm not a science guy, and I know it's Aqua Teen we're talking about here, but do you guys think it's possible that filth can come alive like how it did in that episode where there was so much trash in their kitchen that Old Drippy was born out of just absolute filth? Is that scientifically possible, or is that just science fiction? I don't know. Maybe I'm going a little too deep there. I mean, they don't explain how Drippy's still alive in the end episode, but whatever. Special features, the Rabot original cut, that is not the original airing that I was mentioning, where it's the Super Friends version, the one that aired. This is like the beta version of the episode that they didn't air, where you can see Frylock's lab is in a different spot, the chair is different, the house looks different. That's really what that is. So that's cool it's on here, but honestly, I kind of would much rather have the Super Friends version. Disc 2, Revenge of the Mooninites. Love that. I think that's the one where Meatwad starts smoking and he joins the clowns. See, I'm part of the clowns now, you dig? It's tough because it symbolizes street warfare. All right, all right, all right. This is also probably the episode with the foreigner belt. So Revenge of the Mooninites, masterpiece. MCP Pants, great episode. Love that episode. Circus, oh man, that's with Randy the Astonishing. And he's voiced by that actor that's in like I forget his name, Jason Statham or something. I don't remember his name, but he's in like the Expendables movies, I think. And he runs the circus. That's a hilarious episode. And the way he talks and stuff, and he's just like, my name is Randy the Astonishing. Dumber Days, that's the episode with oh, that's when Meatwad thinks he's Albert Einstein. He's like a genius. Oh my god, that's another masterpiece where he gets into big arguments with Frylock. Love that. Too many funny lines in that one. Love Mummy, that's a masterpiece. It's a contender for the best episode. Curse! Isn't that episode hysterical? You gotta love that episode, really. And also, actually, in the Aqua Teen video game, Zombie Ninja Pro Aim, which I'll talk about as I progress with this, there's an episode in the pyramid level where you actually fight the mummy from that episode, and he's like, curse! 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 And he shoots his lasers at you, like thunder at you. That was a real trip. I wish there was more Aqua Teen video games, though. So, Interfection, I think that's the one with the Internet Wizard. That's two R's, three D's, and three W's. Get it straight. That's a mere pennies a day. Yes, that's a masterpiece. That's also a contender for the funniest episode. Just the fact that their whole house can be destroyed just because ads. I mean, does this episode predict the future? How horrible and annoying ads are nowadays? Like, ads these days are like 50 times worse than they were back in the 2000s. Am I right, everybody? Bad Replicant. That's with, he's a perfect clone created by Orthwarp and Emery. This could be their first episode, probably where they make the clone of Shake, Major Shake. That's a hilarious episode. I don't think it's as funny as the others, but it's still funny. And it really creeped me out as a kid, as a teenager. What I loved about the classic episodes of Aqua Teen is that they had a creepy vibe to them. And it was like a kind of nostalgic, creepy vibe because it aired late at night. So I was like in my early teens, so it kind of felt like it was something I wasn't allowed to be watching or something I'm not supposed to be watching. So it had a cool, exciting, disturbing, creepy vibe, but at its core, at its heart, it was just some fun. It was exciting. It was weird. It was hilarious, and it wasn't like horrible or whatever. And as Aqua Teen went on, once they started doing the Space Kataz stuff, then the vibe changed, and it wasn't that cool, creepy vibe anymore. That was done. That was flushed down the toilet. Once they stopped doing the Doctor Weird intros, then I think something was lost. Because Aqua Teen had a lot of mystery to it. Like, you didn't know how they are here, why are they food that's alive. They explain this in the original movie, but There's something about the early episodes of Aqua Teen where they didn't reveal everything, and yeah. PDA is, I would say it's definitely not as funny as these other episodes. Like, it's a funny episode, of course, because it's part of the golden age with Romulux, I think his name is. He only had like fucking one episode, and then he appeared in the end episode. Weird character, like he's funny, but he's just like he's a little bit funny, you know. Like he has his little moments, but it's kind of weird too how they build him up in the episode because they keep mentioning his name before he appears, but at the same time, he's not really that great of a character. So that was kind of odd. And it also doesn't kind of make sense at all. Why would Shake even want a PDA? He's so stupid. I know, I get the whole idea, you know, he views himself as being the most important being in the world, but even still, how does he even know how to work a PDA? Probably doesn't, but still, it's a fun episode, and, you know, I really like it. The funniest scene in the episode is when they're in the submarine and the guy's announcing stuff. I don't want to repeat what it is because it's. All right. Well, there you go. There's Volume 1. You gotta love Volume 1, and you gotta watch Volume 1, man. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. You wanna watch the funniest show ever? Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Volume 1. Watch it. You will love it. Alright, so we have Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Volume 2. I believe this is Season 3. I love the art at the top. It's definitely strong Adult Swim vibes with this art right here. So, the reason this is bent is because of flood damage. I've had floods in my house. But other than that, you can see the wear and tear here because I watched this so much. You got this weird stuff on the back here. Um, and every episode on here is hysterical. You got 13 episodes. Like I said, back in the day, it was 13 episodes. And each episode of Aqua Teen is it was always 10 minutes. I always remembered that. Got art of Shake here on the couch. Love this primitive art. This art right here, doesn't it remind you of 12 Ounce Mouse? You guys ever watch that? Let me know in the comments below. Look how cool this is. Mail Order Bride, that's a masterpiece. That's hysterical. We all know this one. Carl and Shake, they're pathetic, and they feel lonely, and they have huge egos, so they order a bitch from Russia, and it's hysterical. Super Birthday Snake, another masterpiece where it's the first time they make it seem like Shake and Meatwad are really dead. I could be wrong, but it might be the first episode where anyone dies. I love that episode, especially when Meatwad gets drunk in the snake. Oh man, it's amazing. Universal Remonster. Amazing. That's the episode with the bear that's like a remote created by Orthorpe and Emery. Masterpiece. Super Bowl. That's definitely a masterpiece where they introduce Angela Eatos. Oh man. Gotta love that episode. Superhero. That's probably the one where he's the drizzle. Super Squatter. I always despise the name of this episode. It's so dumb. It barely has anything to do with the episode. But this is a masterpiece. This is the one where Carl shoots off his foot with a gun. And he won't leave Shake won't leave Carl's house. That's a 5-star episode. Super Spore, I'm pretty sure this is the episode with that pink alien that's like, I rule you. Fuck, I'm trying to remember his name, guys. Maybe it'll come to me. Supermodel, this is a hilarious episode. That's the creepiest of the series where Shake deforms his body, and that's the episode where we hear more of Carl's friend Terry, which was first mentioned in the Brain episode in season 1, where I was saying when Meatwad was smart. We get to see Terry's operation. We don't see Carl's friend Terry until, like, I think frickin' season 7 or something, where they do, like, modeling on their bodies for all of them. But in this one, it's just Shake. And it's hilarious how every time he gets an upgrade, quote unquote, Meatwad just makes fun of him and makes him feel so insecure about his body that he gets another quote unquote upgrade. Episode Disc 2, Super Trivia. This is the one where they do trivia against Wayne the Lame Brain McLean. Another masterpiece. Some of Carl's greatest lines of all time are in this episode, where he's like, "Yeah, 50 more wings. What are you, dumb?" And then Frylock gets angry at the end of the trivia, and he turns to Carl and he's like, "Yeah, it's over. We lost. Did your ass get enough wings? Look at this. Does it look like I got enough?" Man, masterpiece. Sirloin. This is the episode where it's the second episode of MCP Pants, and this time he's a cow. Love this episode. I think it's funnier than the first MCP Pants episode. Supercomputer. Guys, I know all the episodes. I just need to see it. Meat Zone. Like, these titles are bad. Like, some of the old episodes have really bad titles where, like, Super Squatter has nothing to do with Carl shooting his foot or whatever. Like, I know what these are, but Cybernetic Ghost from Christmas Past from the Future. I think this is the first episode with the Cybernetic Ghost. This is with the Santa Ape, and I think this is the episode with Danzig. Danzig, the rock artist, buys Carl's house. Oh, yeah. I want the blood flowing up the walls. You're serious? Thank you, God! Same thing, there's secrets on this DVD. Future Wolf 2 and 3 are amazing because you get to see how they created Aqua Teen Hunger Force from the very beginning. These are like mini documentaries about the history of the show and its legendary status on television, even though they're done in a comedic way with this character called Future Wolf. He's like a puppet in these mini things. Yep. Here are the discs. Behind here are just little aliens. Not that special. Look. That's all it is. These aren't even characters, so stupid. But yeah, anyway. There's volume 2. Now, I don't want to take this out, but underneath here, there's an Enigma on the cover and Urs on the back, but it's just a black background. So yes. All right. I gotta be careful with this one. I'm gonna hold it like it's the Holy Grail because it is. So guys, back in the day, this was the first Aqua Teen Hunger Force DVD I ever purchased. So I used to watch it on reruns with my cousin back in the day. And we used to die of laughter watching it late at night at his house and stuff, and my house. So I bought this DVD when it came out. So whenever this DVD came out is when I first became an Aqua Teen fan. And from that point on, my life has never been the same. Love this cover. At the time when I was a kid, I hated it. I don't know. I thought it looked ugly, but now I think it looks kind of cool. Volume 3, I think, is the funniest collection. Whatever season this is, number-wise, because like I said, they fucked up the numbers of the seasons. Whatever the season this is, I think it's the funniest season. These have the funniest episodes. The height of Aqua Teen, honestly, to be brutally honest, it's right here. Aqua Teen did not get funnier than these episodes. After these, the quality of comedy was still hilarious, but it got less funny. This is like the hype right here, guys. Frat Aliens, hilarious, right? Total Recall, that's a contender for one of the best episodes ever. That's when Carl dies from a toilet, and then he keeps getting come back to life from Frylock's experiments. That one's hysterical. Kidney Car is amazing. It's hysterical. It's a masterpiece, contender for one of the best episodes. That's when Carl's car is getting repossessed, and with Shake in his helmet, and Meatwad wants it to be his work car, and it's amazing. Revenge of the Trees, come on, you gotta love that. That's where they, get kidnapped by the trees and he gets the fine. That's also a contender for one of the greatest episodes of all time. You see what I mean, guys? I mean, you got 3 in a row right here. Total Recall, Kidney Car, and Revenge of the Trees, where you can't even decide which one's the funniest of the 3. Number 5, The Cloning. Oh my god. See what I mean? Masterpiece. The Cloning was a phenomenal episode where they finally used not Carl, Frylock's cloner and the creepy stuff with the television, and that was really creepy to see that. That's probably the creepiest moment in the entire. That's the creepiest episode of Aqua Teen, and it's an excellent episode to show people as like a first episode because it gives them that cool, nostalgic, creepy vibe. That episode, kind of like a fun horror movie where it's like it's creepy, but it's not too scary, where it's like it's not shitty. It's a fun horror thing. The Cloning, excellent episode. And it has one of Frylock's funniest moments, if not the funniest moment, where Meatwad's like, do not invite him into the house, do not invite him into the house. And then Frylock goes up to the TV and he's like, you shut up. That was fucking hysterical. Number 6, Broodwitch. Come on, man. Broodwitch, classic. I don't know if it's a masterpiece, but it's a great episode. If only the sandwich had a mayonnaise on it or whatever. I mean bacon. It didn't have bacon on it. By the way, there's a video where someone actually makes the sandwich, the Broodwitch, for reals. For reals, y'all. Check it out. Number 7, The Dressing. Ah, man. Okay, this is the Thanksgiving episode. You see what I mean? Terrible title. Yes, this is the one with the other cybernetic ghost from the Christmas past, but it's the Thanksgiving cybernetic ghost. This one's hysterical. Masterpiece, could be contender for one of the greatest episodes ever. The intro is amazing, where they're eating Thanksgiving dinner like frickin' a week after Thanksgiving. Because Carl mentions at the beginning of the episode, it's like, oh, you're celebrating Thanksgiving, huh? Too bad it was over a week ago. Which I found out when they aired this episode back in the day, they actually aired it a week after Thanksgiving. So how fucking awesome is that? That first scene where Carl's eating a dinner roll outside of their window and Shake is stuffing his face with the food. That's one of the funniest scenes in the whole series. One of the funniest beginnings, where the ghost, the robot shows up, and he's like, "Drop the chainsaw if you want him to live," and the music's like all scary, and he's like, "Help me!" Na, na, na. And then Shake's like, "Nah, screw it," and he's like, nah. And he tosses Carl out the window, and his head is bloody, and he's like, I'm not. He walks away. And the turkey's like, is he mad? Amazing. Episode 8, yeah, masterpiece, right? Contender for one of the best episodes ever. That's where damn it! Frylock moves out of the house, and he moves into that apartment. And their house, which is now Shake and Meatwad's house, it gets obliterated and destroyed. And Carl is just phenomenal in this episode. Carl has some of his funniest moments in this episode where Frylock offers Carl a candy cane, and Carl's like, no, just stick it straight up, right up your ass. And where he comes to visit Carl, and his face is caving in because of the styrofoam burning, and he's like, yeah, styrofoam burning, I knew it, that's how they keep warm over there. What are you doing back here? You moving in? You coming in? What's going on? What are you doing? No, I'm just visiting, Carl. Look, don't breathe in. Something's wrong with the air since you left. Look at my eyes. That ain't normal. And I died of laughter watching this episode for the first time, where the paramedics are taking Carl into the paramedics car, and it takes off, and Carl flies out the back, still on the stretcher. Oh my god, I love that. And Frylock flies away, and he's like, whoa, I can't see. Where are you? And also has the voice messages too. And the neighbor that visits Frylock at his house, and he's like, no, we're just going to stay here and do human being things. So, just stay away. That's amazing. No, we're just not going to. Number 9, the cubing. Okay, this is the least funniest episode of this season. The cubing is the one with the wisdom cube and his stupid twin brother, the dumbass Hedrothon. It's funny, but again, it's not as funny as the others. The last one. Well, originally this was supposed to be the actual finale of the series. I think this is the episode with the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think this is the one where all the villains get together and they make a plan to destroy the Aqua Teens on the moon or whatever. I think that's what that is. So I'm sorry earlier when I kept saying the episode it wasn't it was the last one. Every time I mentioned that. Earlier I mentioned Romulox returns and other things. I was talking about referring to the last one, not the episode. But they both have the at the beginning, so that's why I got confused. There's a lot of things to remember here, guys. Okay, you gotta work with me here. Number 11, the clowning. Hysterical, right? This is when Carl transforms into a clown, right? And the girl's like, "Oh, you clowns!" Yeah, I thought my flip-flops felt a little tight. Spirit Journey Formation Anniversary. Amazing. And remember, every time you have a birthday, play that song. 55 bells wind chime when the heavens open up and you drink from the silver cup. Yeah, that's another contender again. Guys, come on. Another contender for one of the greatest episodes ever. Gotta love that one. Number 13, The Shaving. The Shaving. This is the episode with Willie Nelson. It's the Halloween episode, another contender for one of the greatest episodes ever. There's too many funny lines in that episode, like when Meatwad becomes the Incredible Plum. The ending was the most shocking thing ever, which I won't spoil for you guys if you haven't seen it. Willie Nelson became such a memorable Aqua Teen character despite the fact that he never returned until the original finale of the last season before these new episodes. You know what I'm talking about, when he leaves the house after the credits start rolling. Yeah. But the whole time, before that finale, all us fans assumed Willie Nelson was still alive in the attic. But they just don't go up in the attic anymore. But then it became mysterious because in at fucking season 7, they do go technically into the attic again, I think. But the Time Machine episode, the second Time Machine episode, the one that's not as good. So anyway, that's the golden era of Aqua Teen. Okay? This is the golden era. This is the golden era. So, to tell you the truth, when this DVD first was released, I didn't find it funny, actually. And it's shocking to say that, thinking back. A couple of years later, I rewatched them and I was like, wow, what am I thinking? This is still hilarious. It just wasn't. I felt there was something missing, though. Once they aired these, it was like it wasn't the same. There was something missing. And maybe it was Dr. Weird. Maybe it was something. Something about the early episodes were the greatest ever. And this is the first season, in my opinion, where it got less funny. But still, look how awesome this set is. See, they don't make DVDs like this anymore. You got Aqua Teen Hunger Force written bold letters here on the side. You got it at the top here. The innocent shall suffer. Big time. You got here in blue. Pretty cool. Got weird stuff here. You gotta love how they present this set, Okay, here we go. This is the first episodes with the Ouija board where Shake dies. The more I think about it, it's kind of like a remake of the Super Birthday Shake episode where Shake dies. Yeah, it's a great episode. Um, Unremarkable Voyage. I'm pretty sure this is the one with the shrink ray. So again, stupid title. You can't call it the shrink ray or something? Come on. Jesus, man. Moonanites, the third episode. I think this is with the giant Bill and Cliff on the moon and the Gorgatron, I think. Or, yeah, okay, the third episode's with the Bill. The fourth episode, the final mooning, I think is the Gorgatron one. I think. This one is with the Bill and Cliff. Cliff hasn't been okay since the Lunar War. Gee whiz. Me gee whiz. It's hysterical. It's a contender for one of the best episodes ever, and it has Ted Nugent at the end. Gotta love that scene. Great episode. E-Dork, that's with the E-Ano helmet, which is hysterical because they're making fun of how the new phones are so popular when they first came out. That's an excellent episode. That's a contender for one of the funniest ones ever, where Carl gets the E-Dork, the E-helmet, and all the shenanigans, and then Shake is burying himself into the ground, and they can't stop playing the piano music. Oh man, Little Brittle, another masterpiece episode where he also becomes a vampire at the end. If you guys remember, look at me, I'm a vampire, y'all. And he's like an old man. So it's MPP Pants once again. I think this is the final episode in the series with MCP Pants. They did bring him back in the Aqua Dunk side pieces as a spider again, which doesn't make sense because I thought he'd be a different creature every time he reincarnated. But whatever, they just wanted to be nostalgic, I guess. But this is the final episode of the original episodes series. The final episode where MCP Pants appears in, I believe. And after this, he appears as a fly in the first movie. Oh yeah, actually, I forgot. He turns into a worm wearing a diaper in um, the end episode, the last one, where they have the meeting on the moon. So those are all his forms, pretty much. Robo Sitter. I love this episode. It could be my favorite episode of the whole series because I quote it so much. It's just too funny. Like when they're working at that fucking disgusting store in the mall and the robots turn into like biatches and Robo Sitter is so nasty to Meatwad and she's like, you can have a pill. In the phone. Oh my god, it's too funny, that episode. In this episode, Meatwad takes drugs and he's in the freezer and everything. And all right, so episode. Oh, I already talked about the final mooning. I think that's the one with the Gorgatron. That's a classic episode. Everyone always loves that one. You're the Moon Master. Diet. Okay, this is when Meatwad is working out, and Shake keeps sabotaging his workout routine, which is hysterical because he got like the pies and everything, and Carl's trying to lose weight too, and then he takes these bars that keep making him. Or you can do it lose weight the fun way. Just keep taking these fiber bars, and watch the weight just shred away. Yeah, but the ending is so disturbing, where the bug comes out of him. Oy oy oy. I just like to be next to this light. You know what I mean? Just like real next to it. Dusty Gonzangas. Oh man, she was pretty hot, huh, boys? That was a funny episode where, oy vey, you have to see it really, but she comes over to the house to try to fix the gas leak, and it's hysterical, and it was just so weird. T-shirt of the Dead. This is another contender, actually, for one of the best episodes ever. This is the one with fucking Santa Claus and the giant eggs. And so just me describing it is funny. Even with you didn't see it. You got to watch this episode. Even if it's the only episode you watch of this series and you think the show is bad, watch this. And I dare you not to laugh. I mean, fucking Santa Claus gets his skin destroyed and then his body is replaced with soccer ball skin. I mean, how is that not funny? I love that episode. Yeah, the elves whipped it up for me at the last minute. Meatwad, why did you wake me up in the middle of July? It's just too many funny lines, and they're all from Santa, really, for the most part. I know what you're saying, but all I keep thinking is Easter Bunny, Easter Bunny, Easter Bunny. Yeah. And this is Timmy's house, and if I remember correctly, he asked for a wooden brain. No, he said train, you idiot, train. Okay. Hypogerm. All right, this is probably the weirdest episode ever. It's the one where there's these germs inside of Shake's eyes, and they put on like this play, and it's really funny actually, but it's strange because it kind of feels like a pilot for an episode of a show that they didn't go through with, and it kind of reminds me of the Bible fruits because there was the episode I think in season 5 or something with the Bible fruits, which is one of my favorite episodes ever. And then they tried to give the Bible fruits their own series and it failed. Or it was based off of the Bible fruits, but it didn't star them in it. And that's what this episode Hypogerm feels like. But the funniest scene in the episode is when they frickin' uh the audience is file cabinets when Shake is doing stand up for them. That was funny. What's your name, sir? Phil Cabinet. This is my wife and my children. And it has another funny line in it by Frylock where he's like, plays that they've written after they've been drinking. It took a long time to actually think this one was funny because the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, this is just, I'm not feeling it. But you watch it more and more and it gets funny every time. Oh, it also has that hilarious scene where Shake is hallucinating and he sees the objects coming to life in the house and the fucking wall comes to life and the wall just keeps saying, yeah, I'm the basketball. I'm the basketball. I'm the basketball. And I love what the little basketball says. And he's like, basketball's a life in chain, brother. Come on. Spacegate World. I always despise this title because I always forget what the fucking episode is. Every time I see the title, I gotta remember. Fuck. I'm sorry, guys. I don't remember. Sorry. Look at this. Pretty cool. You got here. I kind of wish that was behind Ignignot instead of like here, but whatever. For some reason, Emery is red here. Pretty cool. They really went all out creatively when they made this set. And there's some mistakes here, actually. I think there's a mistake either in this collection completely or just my particular set. They like the episodes here are reversed for some reason. I don't know. I know I'm rambling. It's hard to say what I'm trying to say here, guys. There you go. Classic episodes, good stuff. All right. Next, right after that DVD, we had the movie that came out. I think it was 2007, 6, something like that. And I still think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. I do love the first movie. It's way better than the sequel, than the new movie that came out. I have so many fond memories of watching this, and I didn't actually get to see it in the movie theaters, which is one of my regrets as an Aqua Teen fan because I was so pissed But I didn't see any commercials for it, guys. And I found out it was only in theaters for like fucking 2 weeks or some shit. So I just missed out. And I was stressed out in school and shit, and I was pissed. But I always remember the day I bought the DVD. And I just love this cover. This cover, really, with the chick grabbing his legs here, it's supposed to be a parody of the cover to National Lampoon's Vacation. And I'll show you a comparison in a minute. But don't you just love the painting on here? And also this chick riding the motorcycle and the monsters. That's supposed to be from Meatloaf, the Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell album cover. So there's a bunch of things that are inspired from other things in this cover. Like Frylock has like a realistic human face, and so does Shake, Meatwad. Gotta love this cover. I mean, Carl is the man on this cover. Look at him. Awesome. I always thought that was a feather he was holding for some reason, but he's actually holding a sword. Which is weird because he never uses a sword in the whole show. But whatever. I mean, we've seen Shake with the bow and arrow before. The crossbow or whatever. Frylock shooting his lasers, that's normal. And the chainsaw is really Master Shake's, but whatever. They're still used in the show, but a sword? Maybe they should have thought of something else. Also, the soundtrack is amazing too. And I actually really like the alternate version of this movie that they kept on the DVD, which is great. Look how cool this is. I remember this felt so adult when it came out. When I look at the back of this, it's like rated R in red and black and like a dead Frylock on the ground. It just seems so crude and cool and interesting. I loved it. Just loved it. There's so many special features on this DVD, and I love what they did on the DVD discs. The total opposite of how they treated the DVD for the new Plantasm movie, where there's nothing on the menu. It's just a black screen with white text. Maybe I'll show you guys that. Shit. But on the original movie DVD, they had amazing DVD menus with music and everything and the pyramids. Oh, I love it. That's why I buy old DVDs, guys. Buy them now. Because who knows, in the future they could get expensive. Oh. And by the way, the full official title of the first movie is Aqua Teen Hunger Force, movie film for theaters. And this says for DVD on the DVD. Very clever, right? Got the discs. Got the chick riding the bike here. Kind of cool what they did. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, movie film for theaters. The second disc, I think, has the other movie. I always thought it was really cool how they did this, where it looks really cheap. Like this isn't meant to look like a bootleg DVD. Very cool. But this is official, you know. Like I said, there's tons of DVD special features on this. Yeah, baby.